Hey everybody, welcome back to another Species Spotlight here at Florida Keys History and Discovery Center. We're looking at the Mote Marine Laboratory exhibit. Today is the Lionfish Invasion exhibit. So we've already covered our lionfish once before, but we're going to retouch on it for people who might have missed out on that one. Tell you a little bit more about the species and why they are such a problem down here in the Florida Keys. So we're going to be feeding these guys today, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about their life history and what is so problematic about them being here. So I'm going to go ahead and climb on up here. Our lionfish here get fed twice a week, and they get fed a whole silver side fish, thawed out. It is a type of bait fish. So what we do is we cut it up into multiple pieces, and I'm going to target feed them. So I'm going to present the food to each individual one, make sure this helps us make sure that each one is eating their amount. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep count and make sure that each fish gets his 3 pieces. And then one of them missed their food down there, but we'll have to get that later. So the lionfish are an invasive species here in the Florida Keys. That means that they were not supposed to be here and that they were introduced through other means from another area. They are originally from the Indo-Pacific, so we're talking the Philippines, Thailand, and the way they got over here was through human means, most likely through the aquarium trade. So a home aquarium owner bought himself or herself a lionfish and put it in their fish tank, and that probably ate all of the other tank inhabitants. So what do? They took the lionfish and they went and they chucked it out in the ocean. And that lionfish laid a bunch of eggs, and thus the lionfish explosion happened here in the Caribbean. So the lionfish is taken over down here in the Caribbean, here in the Florida Keys. You can find them over in the Bahamas. You can find them as far north as Maine. And they can just proliferate themselves. They explode in population, laying millions of eggs a year. They eat any small reef fish that they come across, with quite literally eyes bigger than their mouths. They're just devouring everything. And that's wreaked havoc on the Florida Keys reefs because they just decimate the reef fish population. The only current way to control them is to go down and spear them. So some events that they have annually are called lionfish derbies, hosted by reef. And what they'll do is they'll go out have tournaments on what teams can spear the most lionfish, who gets the largest lionfish, who gets the smallest lionfish, that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, what they'll do is they'll cook them up. And they use all the data that they gather from where the lionfish are collected, how many, tissue samples, that sort of thing, to help efforts in controlling these species. So the lionfish is being promoted to be eaten. It is a very tasty fish. Quite a few restaurants down here in the Florida Keys serve them. So if you're wondering, you're asking yourself, how can I, as a person, help out and get rid of these lionfish, get them off the Florida Reef? What you can do is you can order it at restaurants and you see it on the menu. You can pick it up at grocery stores. I know a few grocery stores will stock lionfish fresh. Whole Foods. Whole Foods is a big promoter in carrying lionfish. So that's one of the big ways that you can do it. Or if you're a sportsman, if you're out on the waters frequently, what you can do is you can carry yourself a spear, a Hawaiian sling, whatever you have, and you can spear these lionfish. There is no limit on how many you can take, what size you can take. What you just need to be careful of is that you are handling the fish properly, because they are venomous. So if we look at his dorsal fins here along his back, all those spines, all those fins sticking up, those are where the venom are contained, along with a few of the fins on the lower pectoral side. So there is no special way to prepare them. It's just like any other fish, but you just need to make sure that you cut off those fins and dispose of them so that you don't prick yourself, because it is very painful. So it's comparable to a bee sting. It affects some people worse than others, but it is not a fun event. And I think that is going to wrap it up for our species spotlight this week. So if you guys have any suggestions or any questions on another fish, another species that you would like to see for our species spotlight, go ahead and post it down below, and we'll catch up with you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, have a great day. Stay safe, and catch you next week.